you very much for this very wonderful opportunity to talk to Indians. And honestly, I love India, and now I'm missing India so much. I'm now in Japan, and this time I deliver my webinar from Japan. So let me share the PowerPoint slide. Just a moment, please. So let me start my lecture today. Today, I am talking about COVID-19 and its effect on economy. Namaste. Namaste, Indians. I love India. Let me introduce myself again. I am a serial entrepreneur, as Suhas-san introduced me. And I am the owner of many companies and also teaching economics and corporate strategy in many countries, including India. And the last 2 or 3 years, I went to India so often, to Bangalore and other cities, Kolkata, Hyderabad. But this time, all of us cannot go to visit another country. So this time, sorry about that, but I do it online. I'm teaching corporate strategy recently, and very, very fortunately, I could have the opportunity to talk to the people in many countries. Of course, I went to Kharagpur. Kharagpur is, of course, this is Kolkata, very far from Bangalore, and that was my first time to visit Kolkata. And also could have some opportunity to visit some Indian local cities. And especially IISC, I think I went there 4 times or 5 times. And whenever I came to Bangalore, then I went to and visit IISC and sometimes to deliver some lectures talking about corporate strategy or economics or world affairs or something. Also went to many cities, Kolkata and Hyderabad, and I could have the some opportunity to deliver a presentation in big startup events. And then I could meet a lot of Indians there. And after leaving India, I have kept contact with LinkedIn or Facebook. And recently, I have a lot of online meetings with Indians or foreigners nowadays. Those pictures are taken in Bangalore in the last year, 2019, and that was event of NATSCOM. And then I could see the Vice President of India. He is the Vice President of India. I could see him in that event also. This picture, he is a Professor Akhilesh. I'm so sorry and very sad, but he passed away last November. He is my soul friend, and I'm so sorry about that. But thanks to him, I could have the opportunity to talk to the big audience in that big event. Let me introduce my background, especially academic background. I was a mathematician and a physicist long time ago. I studied math and physics in my 20s. I started math, representation theory, and algebra or geometries in early 1990s. Then at the age of 27, I was teaching mathematics to master course students, but I didn't make the decision to become a scholar or researchers and in campus. Instead, I went to United States and became a management consultant working for Accenture. This is a picture taken in Accenture, Chicago. And this is a project for young people training. And I was a lecturer and the manager of this project and teaching some of the business skills such as logical thinking and communication or leadership or problem solving or strategy. So since then, I've been teaching corporate strategy on some of the business skills in corporations or in university in some society. Then, of course, I did it to those in IISC and Tokyo University in Japan and Singapore and Beijing University. Beijing is the capital city of China. Now, Beijing is a very big city like Tokyo. And we Japanese are using the same Chinese characters. So that's why at least we can read the Chinese to some degree, even if we did not study the language of Chinese. Also, I went to some universities in other countries. This is a picture taken in the University of Indonesia, in Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia. Of course, I went to Kharagpur. I love Kharagpur. Kharagpur, the campus was so far from the international airport of Kolkata. So that was my big challenge from the airport to go to Kharagpur. It took about 3 and 4 hours by a car. But that was really interesting, and lots of I could meet lots of very smart students there, and everybody is laughing in this picture, right? Also, 2 years ago, I delivered the lecture in IIMB in Bangalore. Of course, I think the location of IIMB is the southern part of Bangalore, and it has a very beautiful campus. Very, very beautiful campus. Okay, then I come to have the opportunity to talk to something today. So today, there are some topics, especially mainly about COVID-19 and its effect on economy. And there are many things I should talk to you, but I only have 1 hour. That's too short. So I pick up some topics here, like these 5 topics: Great Depression again, and chaos in a political and social system. Technology can change our world. War for talent, and finally, what shall we do next? Okay, let's go move on to the main topics. Then all of you know the COVID-19 nowadays. This is one of the viruses, and the first found in Wuhan, the local city in China, 2019. That was in October, or some says it was found the last summer. I don't know, and some are saying it is artificially created. I'm not the specialist in this field, but at least this is very, very dangerous virus. It has a strong infection and a high fatality rate. But the fact is, fatality rate itself is not that high compared to the flu or another viruses. So in that sense, some are saying we are overreacting to this virus. Then overreacting means our economy is dead. So it is very, very sensitive and it is a very, very controversial topics nowadays. Some said we should go out. Some said we stay home. I think the solution is in between. And some characteristics it has. And its structure of this virus is RNA and N protein. And that means it's easily mutated soon. And actually mutated into 8 variants at this moment. 8 variants are found nowadays. And on the other hand, researchers are working so hard trying to create vaccine of this virus. Now, 24 vaccine candidates were undergoing clinical trials in many countries, United States, China, and Germany, of course, in Japan and India. And some facts says, at least there are 8 types. Sorry, this is written in Chinese, Taiwanese Chinese. This one is from one of the Taiwanese official sites. There are some types, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and the type A, that was widely spread around China, maybe original one, I guess. And the type B, that was widespread, China and other countries, including Japan and Taiwan and Korea. And the European type is different, and this is a mutation of original one. And in some European countries, such as Italy, UK, and Spain, their damages are very, very severe, especially compared to the Asian country like Korea and China. I don't know why. Of course, can be explained by the type of difference, but I don't know. The fact is, in Asian countries like China and India and Japan, the death rate of this virus much lower than the European countries or America. That's a fact. So now the researchers are trying to find why right now. So the summary of direct impact of COVID-19. There are 7 points. Then number 1, frankly speaking, world economy goes down so bad. So bad, how long? I think at least 1 or 2 years. It must be bad. So we be prepared and be patient for 2 years at least. Now the second point is it accelerates the digital transformation. It is very good news for someone who worked in the IT industry like me. Actually, I am busier than before. I can have a lot of online meetings. Before COVID-19 pandemic, I was wrong because I was thinking if I want to do business, then I should visit and see the people in person. But after COVID pandemic, we cannot go to another country and we cannot meet in person physically. So we gave up. Then at least I realized it's possible and it's easier to have online meetings. Oh, I was wrong. And now I work from home here in Japan, and I can have a lot of online meetings with foreigners or someone in another country. So in that sense, for IT industry or neighboring industries, this COVID-19 is good opportunity to do something more and so actively. The third point is the regional disparity in developing countries increases, of course, including India or another European or Africa or Latin American and Asian countries. Number 4, sovereign risks get more serious. Sovereign risk means country risk. Country can go bankrupt like companies. So some countries like Lebanon or that can be maybe Italy or Spain or Argentina or many countries will face the difficulties soon. Number 5, world political power balance changes. For example, a good example is United States has a presidential election this November, the 3rd of November. I'm not sure Mr. Donald Trump can be a president again, but without the corona pandemic, everybody thought maybe Trump can be a president again. But recently, some statistics shows the opposite party, the candidate of Mr. Biden, he is better than Mr. Trump. Number 6, big influences on presidential election in many countries, not only countries. But also not only presidential election, but the leadership itself. For example, Mr. Putin, the president of Russia, or Erdogan in Turkey, they may be confronting some difficulties if they made some mistake coping with this COVID-19. Uh, Basically, this kind of pandemic, very negative event, is positively worked for the president or the ruler governors. But once those people make some mistake, how to handle with COVID or bad event, then situation can be changed very dramatically. Number 7, digitalized and remote work style will be normal. And I am a good example. I stay home and I'm in Japan, but all of my offices are in Tokyo, but now I'm not in Tokyo. I'm now in Nagoya with my family. And it takes 2 or 3 seconds from my bedroom to go to my office, because now my office is next to my bedroom. Not 3 or 5 seconds, just 3 or 4 steps from my bedroom. Okay, let's go on to the each topics. The Great Depression again. This is the worst scenario. What can we do? Actually, worldwide economies went down in a short period of time after COVID pandemic. This is the stock market and the oil markets. Then it went down so rapidly. And now time passed a little bit after this. Then stock price, it is 80% recovered. 80% recovered. Economies is not recovered. Maybe less than 50%. But stock price recovered 80% or more. It's really interesting. And oil markets, nobody produce products and nobody buy something. Then oil is not needed. So in that case, oil price goes down very, very naturally. But now some of the social activities and the businesses, they are back to the normal. Then oil price is getting higher. But now the price is around 40 US dollar. So it's not so high as before. Under the lockdown, this is a picture taken in Bangalore, June, in the middle of lockdown. Then we cannot see not so many people here. Usually Indian cities, as you know, there are so many Indians on the streets, on the restaurant, and in the shopping malls. But at that time, almost nobody there. So that means the economy is dead. And people working on the street, selling food on the street, and driving cars, or they lost jobs and they have no way to get money. So that was very, very terrible. It's not for Indians, but also all of us. Many big names went go bankrupt. This is a Thai Airways, the biggest airline company in Thailand. And I use Thai Airways so often when I go to India because the location of Thailand is on the way from Japan to India, and I transit mostly at Thai, Bangkok or Singapore. But it went bankrupt. Or Hertz is a rental-car company, and the Virgin Air and the JCPenney and the Golgium. Mostly travel and the food and the retail industries are very, very terrible, and will be the same for some while. Golgium It is Gold Gym Bangalore, almost in the middle of Bangalore, and I went there so often. So as a whole, some of the very famous smart economists are predicting the future. IMF, International Monetary Fund, reported June, global growth is projected at minus 4.9% in 2020. And previous year, and last year, and the year before that, last year 2019, GDP growth rate is 2.9, plus almost 3%. The year before, 2018, it's 3.6%. But this year, 2020, minus 4.9%, almost minus 5%. Previous year, almost 3% plus, and this year, almost minus 5%. So the difference is 8% minus compared to the previous year. So minus 5%, imagine how big it is. Minus 5%. 5% of GDP is almost equal to the size of Germany. Germany is the biggest country in European Union. Ranked number 4. The size of 5% of GDP is almost equal to Germany. So that means this year we are losing the market, big market like Germany this year. Isn't it so big? So the impact of the economy of COVID-19 is so big. Oh, and COVID-19, it reveals hidden problems, bad things. Weakness of a political and social system, like economic disparity, and accumulated bad debt of companies and the government, especially in big countries like United States and China and Japan. The government or central banks, they have big debt, bad debts. And disconnectedness of real economy and financial market. Actually, stock price is so high, but economy is dead. The gap is getting bigger and bigger. Number 5, negative factors caused by globalization. Of course, those will be revealed. And overinvestment to developing country and markets, it can be dangerous. For example, in India, there are so many big ventures IT companies such as Ola Cabs and Zomart. Their prices of the prices of those companies are very, very huge. Very huge. The reason is very simple. They have been invested a lot of money from foreign investors and foreign companies, and sometimes they succeeded having a lot of money. Then they could hire lots of people, and they could promote their product very, very widely, then expand their businesses, sometimes acquire business units. But if those money they lose, actually that can be very chaotic. That can be a problem. So let me summarize the basic trends and the topics before and after COVID-19. Number 1, constant rise of population and economies. It's really good. Because of the increasing population. If we do not have the COVID pandemic, our economies can go up like 3%, 4% every year. Increase regional disparity, increase the sovereign risk, dead end of a present social system. There are some bad points we can see in a democratic system, capitalism, socialism. Of course, every system is not perfect, but in this situation, some of the bad things can be seen. Number 5, conflicts in the politics and economies of the US and China. Number 6, many countries try to find their position in a complicated situation. Of course, including Japan. Japan is China's side and American side or European side or Indian side. It's really sensitive and complicated. Globalization has led to unwanted results: pollution, unemployment, immigration, disparity, deflation. Number 5, final. Global warming, natural energy, and old age society are not solved yet. So recently, in that bad situation, economically bad situation, central banks and the government have to do something to save it. Then most of the central banks have the stimulus package, economic stimulus packages. Then roughly, they will print lots of money. US dollar, Japanese yen, the euro, they will print too much money. And we call it helicopter money because it's something they are going to give those money from the helicopter to the nation or companies. And of course, lots of economists are wondering it works or not. And there are some opinion about that. But to some degree, it is needed. At least without money, all of the economies are dead. So we have to do something. But how much? The degree is this is a key to succeed or not. And some of the companies may be going bankrupt, but also some of the countries may be going bankrupt. Usually, they are too big to fail. It is too big to fail. That was said in Lehman crisis in 2008. At that time, year 2008, American insurance group, the biggest insurance group in the world, they were in danger of corruption. So American government and the central banks worried about that because once this world biggest insurance company goes bankrupt, the system itself is in danger of losing its system, and it doesn't work anything in that situation. So that's why Central Bank of United States, FRB, and the president make a decision to save AIG. But instead, that means the bad debt was transferred to United States government. So, and zombie companies, almost half the company, we call it zombie companies, they survived. Instead, countries can be in danger of corruption. So there are some flags here. Those countries are in danger of default. They cannot pay some money to the World Bank or foreign investors. So then there are some flags of European countries, and Italy and Spain. They are very, very bad right now because those countries have a lot of positive cases of COVID-19, and the impact on those countries was so huge. So their economies are also very, very bad, and those are not small countries, and the members of European Union. So that's why France and Germany have to save those countries, and that means the bad debt is getting bigger and bigger, and transfer to a bigger organization, and that means the crisis can be bigger and bigger. So go on to the next step. the chaos in the political and social system. And the chaos in the political and social system, regional disparity, China's challenge, US-China, and East Europe distress, and old empire of Russia and Turkey, and Africa, rise of nationalism, and the Middle East outbreak, the proxy war, and the African era. So we have to check who is a leader, who is going to be the next. Mr. Trump, Xi Jinping, Putin, Erdogan, Moon, Korea, Japan, Mr. Abe. Mr. Abe will resign his position next year. And Ms. Merkel of Germany, she will also resign her position next year. So we are looking for someone next to her. So we have to check the election schedule. Taiwan, Iran, Belarus, and the United States. Maybe biggest topic is about presidential election of the United States, November. Basically, if we look at the economy, the population is getting bigger, like this. And until the year 2015, the population is so big, like this. So that's why that means the demand power is getting bigger and bigger, according to the increase of the population. Very simply. So that's why I said, if there is no pandemic like with COVID-19 or something like that, our economy is naturally growing up with 2 or 3%. Then we have to check the population ranking. This is the 2019 and 2015. India will be soon #1 in the next 10 years because the birth rate of India is much higher than China, very simply. But I think India's population is so huge. So that's why the prime minister have to create a lot of jobs. That is very tough for India. And China #1, Nigeria, United States, Pakistan, Indonesia, Brazil, Ethiopia, Congo, and Bangladesh. And those countries are colored green. Those countries are Asian countries. So basically, Asian area has about 60 to 70% of total population on the earth. So that means that we have the great demand power in the market. It is potential because like Pakistan or Bangladesh are not so rich, but it must be better if some of the proper investment can be done. So GDP, very simply, it looks so good. It looks so good, and like India, China, like this, and Indonesia. Then check some of the stats. Who are the trade partners? This is a stat from IMF, the Direction of Trade Statistics. For example, this is a country, India. Its export to United States most, and China. For Japan, it's trading to United States and China. Let's see the Germany. It's trading to United States and China. And Korea, South Korea, of course, its trading volume for China is bigger than United States because China and Korea, they are close to each other. Very simple. More interesting fact is this. United States and China. For US, they have lots of trade to and from China. And from Chinese point of view, they are trading to United States. So our conclusion here is that they are good trading partners, statistics shows. So some of us are sometimes talking about this is a trade war of China and the United States. But actually, even now, they are trading to each other. So some claims and insists it's the time decouple of United States and China. But it's impossible. It's impossible. Actually, iPhones are assembled in China. And China, from mainland, they are exporting iPhone or MacBook Air or something from China to United States. That's a fact. So it must be complicated. So some of the hidden negative issues appears that please check it later. I'm going to share this PowerPoint for all of you. Let's see some points. United States negative factors, big trade and finance deficits, and huge amount of government debt, biggest society social disparity, divided society, racial problem. So let's see India. Inefficiency in democracy, wealth disparity, and the weak infrastructure, education standard of, and air pollution and environmental problems. And what will happen in the world? This is a summary. US-China relation will be similar to Cold War. Relatively, US will be down and China up, and it is called instability. Excessive liability of large companies will exceed the critical point. That must be very dangerous. Large countries except UK, US, and Japan will have problems by internal conflict, and some can get divided. Why US, UK, Japan are okay is its border is clear and widely accepted. Simply that's the reason. China will be slowed down and India will keep growing. However, it is unknown how long it will last or how stable it will be. Developed countries will confront the shortage of labor forces like Japan. So if someone wants to have jobs, please come to Japan or please go to Germany or UK. Especially skilled young persons are needed in those advanced countries. Global companies are getting bigger in size, but will soon get regulated. GAFA, Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, they are too big. And they are beyond the control of the states, countries. So that's why some claims it should be regulated. And to some degree, that is true. Korean Peninsula and Taiwan with the Asian Balkan Peninsula, very dangerous, especially nowadays, Taiwan. European Union will struggle to coordinate with members, and Russia will have the unique position between US and China. Japan will declining slowly. Middle East dangerous, and African countries generally need more time to boost the economy. Then go to the next topic. Technology saves many things, like this. Solved the rescue from starvation, and basically our lives are now very rich compared to 100 years ago, like this. But on the other hand, some bad point and tragedy. War weapon and economic disparity and too severe competition and nature and environment and the natural resources, mental health. Then I believe new business will solve to some degree. And this is a picture in IT Center Bangalore. And also Hyderabad. In many places, this is China, Shenzhen. Shenzhen is like Silicon Valley of China. This is Jakarta, and this is Singapore. Nowadays, so many startups trying to solve the social problem, and I want to support those for those. And of course, Da Nang, this is a Vietnamese Silicon Valley. So I went there so often. Then nowadays, we have to think about the importance of talent. Especially, I want to insist talent is very important, especially for Indians. Where are talents found and move? There are some cities and areas. This is New York. New York City, Manhattan Island, very big city. And Silicon Valley and San Francisco, Tokyo, Beijing, and Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, India, and Moscow, Berlin, UK, Nigeria, South Africa. People go to those cities. This is a city ranking, tech city ranking, one of the statistics. And mainly, there are so many names in advanced country like United States or UK or EU. But I think nowadays, India will be much better than before. Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, or Mumbai, those cities will be ranked higher in the future. Actually, nowadays, a lot of engineers come to visit India. And for example, in Bangalore, there are so many foreign research centers and labs in Bangalore, and one of them is Rakuten of Japanese companies, biggest e-commerce platform company. And I visited the Rakuten local office in Bangalore. So war for talent has already begun. With the rise of mobility, talent gathered where skilled people assemble. West Coast, Shenzhen, Berlin, Singapore. And the English-speaking country rich in cultures are at advantage. All of the Indians can speak English fluently. So India is very good. And I'm feeling like this. When I go to Vietnam, Vietnamese generally do not speak English so well. So I have many problems in communication with Vietnamese. But in India, no problem at all. At least India can understand me. Sometimes I cannot understand Indian accent. So when you talk to me, please speak slowly, please. And widening regional and national educational disparity, that can be a problem. So we have to do that, especially in developing countries. Rich family can provide good education opportunity for their children. So educational opportunities, that can be very big problem. So there are 3 points about talents I want to insist on. People with skills such as data analysis and IT have an advantage. Of course, everybody knows. And second is that the ability to search, find, and use information rather than simply remembering would become more important. Usually, when we pass the entrance exam of very good universities, we have to study. We have to memorize lots of things. But I think roughly half of those studies are just memorizing something. Of course, we have to understand it, but memorize and repeat again. But nowadays, more important skill is not just the remember something, not the knowledge, but using those knowledge and be more flexible, use those knowledge. That's more important. It is more difficult to have that kind of talents. So I'm trying to find a way to do that. The last one is nowadays, this is the IT era and we are using IT tools but on the other hand, apart from an IT skills that develop programming or something, human skills such as leadership and team building or creativity and designing, these are more important. We can learn something by books or by YouTube, but it is quite difficult to master how to coordinate the team, how to have the good leadership. Then, if the person with those skills, he or she has the very big advantage. Okay. So finally, what shall we do next? Under this situation, what shall we do next? We will have new era and a new system. COVID-19 pandemic, this is one of the events, but it has accelerated the change of our system or our society. Digital transformation is one of them. If we don't have the COVID-19 pandemic, sooner or later, we will have the new digital era. But without this pandemic, it will be 10 years later, but with COVID-19, it is next year. That can be. And now we stay home and we cannot go out, but we realize the importance of work together, even though we are living separately and even though we don't have the physical office. But it's possible by using Microsoft Teams like this, or Zoom or Google platform. Everything is perfect nowadays. Actually, I can have a lot of meetings with Indians. Then nobody care about the border, nationality, and religion. So of course, it is sometimes difficult to work together with different cultural background and different behaviors and different values. So then what we have to do is to understand the people with different value or behaviors. Then we have to create cross-border new social system. Integrated stable power generation and policy regulation. Power generation, not from oil and gas, but wind or nuclear or I don't know, but at least we need a technology to have more stable and safe power generation. The second one is the proper allocation of wealth. Nowadays, economic gap is too big. It's really dangerous at this moment, and it is going to be bigger with some helicopter money. Basically, helicopter money is used for rich people who have invested to the stock market or another country's market. It's unfair, isn't it? So after this pandemic, some rich people can be richer than before, and the poor people remain poor. That can be a problem. So we need to have some changes in our system. Capitalism or Democratic Party or the role of the government. Anyway, we have to change something. Otherwise, there must be war between poor and rich. That can be happen in cross-border conflicts, but also inside the country. The third one is we have to do something for global warming and pollution control. Nowadays, especially in developing countries with high rate of growth rates, like GDP growth rate 5%, 6%, the number itself is good, but at the same time, they are producing lots of CO2 or polluted gas from the factories. Actually, when we go to Delhi or another big cities in India, the air pollutions are so severe. I realized when I went to Kolkata. Kolkata is old classical city, and it has very beautiful Victoria memorials or something. But its air pollution was so bad, and when I came back to my hotel in Kolkata, oh, my eyes were not so good and turned red because of air pollution. We have to do something. It's not the cost. We have to do something. The second one is redefining the responsibility and the roles of multinational company and the nation. We have to change something systematically. It's quite difficult because it's quite difficult to have the consensus among the nations with different objectives. Some countries want to have the economic growth. Some countries want to have the clean air. It's a conflict. The next one is the revision of education disparity. We have to do something. I think we need to have some kind of platform like a Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a non-profit organization created by Salman Khan. This is free for everybody. And anyone registered here can study any subjects, physics and history and literature, and of course, biochemical things for free. And their online videos are very good. So we need such kind of a very free and provide equal opportunity for everyone on the earth. I'm supporting this kind of activities. The next one is establishment of a global police system. Now, America used to have that position, but they are almost trying to give up that position. Especially Mr. Donald Trump policy is like that. He insists America for America, not for all of us. The next one is sharing and the management of intellectual property rights. For example, now we are trying to find a vaccine of COVID-19. Collaboration is needed, and for human being as a whole. So this kind of cross-border collaboration and the cross-border activities are needed here. Like we went to struggle COVID-19 or sometimes to struggle with some very severe problems in the world. The last one is adaptation of social and individual to aging society. India is not like that, but Japan is very aging society. Most aged country in the world. So there are so many elderly persons in Japan and less young people here in Japan. So young generation have to support lots of big numbers of elderly persons. But not only in Japan, but also Germany and Russia and the UK. Those advanced countries are confronting this kind of a problem. It can be very, very big. So I want to ask, please study those areas. Because some of you and many of you are now studying in IISC or another institute or universities. There are some points here. Healthcare product and service, clean and safe power generation, genome editing, carbon fiber, electric components, infrastructure, precision machines and robotics, automobiles and aircrafts, online education and trading service. I'm doing in this field right now. AI and IT supporting human life, biotechnology, medical products. At least we study so hard in this field and make the most use of the results of those researches. And I'm helping the scientists and the engineer and the researchers in this field because basically my academic background is science and I love science and I understand the language of science. On the other hand, I have some experience working in business. Generally, it is quite difficult to combine those science researches and business. Business needs money to hire people, promote something. So I think there should be a good combination of a business side and research side. Then if you want to implement those technology into business, please contact me. I think I can arrange and sometime introduce someone who is in the professional positions, and sometimes help you to raise funds to have money from outside and from me or from my friends, and I think it works. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, 1 hour is too short, but namaste, namaste. And I also say thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to IISC members. It is my greatest pleasure and grateful, very grateful, and so I'm feeling so happy to have this opportunity. And after the end of this pandemic, I definitely visit the campus in Indian universities, and then please come to join my lecture, offline lecture, and see in person. Thank you very much. And this is my Facebook account and the LinkedIn. So if you give me some message, ask something, please feel free from requesting the friendship in Facebook and LinkedIn. I have 2 accounts of Facebook because I have too many friends. So please ask friendship to my second Kazuaki.Oda. Please ask friendship to here number 2 account. Also, LinkedIn is I'm using LinkedIn always. Thank you very much.